period where we were really hostile towards one another. When we split up, it was painful, and it was very difficult, but...
Did you know Gregory Hines was more than just a great dancer and actor? Many people loved watching him on stage and in movies, but there were secrets about his life that his family never shared. What was he really like behind closed doors? What stories were kept hidden for years? And why are there different accounts of his sexuality? Now, the truth is finally coming out. Are you ready to learn what his family never revealed before?
Even though the decision wasn't mine to become a dancer, ultimately I made the decision to stay with it.
Gregory Hines was born in New York City. He grew up in a neighborhood called Washington Heights, which is close to Harlem. He had an older brother named Maurice. Their parents were Alma and Maurice Hines Sr. His father was a musician and even played baseball. Gregory's grandmother, Ora Hines, was also a performer. She danced at the Cotton Club, a very famous nightclub in the 1920s.
I began dancing at 3. My parents gave my brother and I dance lessons like parents give their children piano or violin, just something I think to round us out.
Gregory always said he had been dancing for as long as he could remember. He and his brother Maurice started very young. Maurice was only 5, and Gregory was just 3 when they began learning tap dance. Maurice was the one who taught him first, but it was their mother who really pushed them to dance. She wanted them to have a better life and saw dance as a way to escape poverty. Every week she took them to a theater called the Apollo. There, they watched some of the best dancers perform. By the time Gregory was 5 years old, he and Maurice were already dancing at the Apollo Theater. This was a big deal because only the best performers got to dance there. That's where Gregory saw some of the greatest tap dancers of all time, like Sandman Sims and Teddy Hale. He was especially inspired by Teddy Hale. Teddy had a special way of dancing where he made things up as he went along. This amazed Gregory, and he wanted to dance just like that.
And tap dancing in those days was still a very credible art form, and so they pursued it for us. But
Gregory and Maurice performed as a duo. They called themselves the Hines Kids. They were very lucky to learn from a famous dance teacher named Henry Latang. Henry was one of the best tap dance teachers in the world. He noticed that Gregory and Maurice were special. Out of 400 kids at their dance school, these two brothers stood out the most. Henry believed they could be as famous as the Nicholas brothers, who were one of the best tap dance teams in history. When Gregory was only 8 years old, he and his brother got their first big job. They performed in a Broadway musical called The Girl in Pink Tights. Gregory played the role of a shoeshine boy, and Maurice played a newspaper boy. Around this time, Gregory also met one of his biggest heroes, Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy was a great dancer, singer, and actor. He became Gregory's mentor and taught him a lot about performing.
But I will always think of it as a place where I was able to grow up. I was able to learn a lot of things about myself.
Gregory Hines had a tough life. He faced racism, family struggles, and the ups and downs of show business. But no matter what, he kept going and became one of the greatest dancers and entertainers of his time. When Gregory was around 11 years old, he had his first real experience with racism. He was traveling with a musical group in Miami, Florida. Gregory and his family were from the North, where things were different. One day, he went to get a drink of water and saw 2 water fountains. One said, "Whites only," and the other said, "Colored." Now, Gregory was just a kid and he thought colored meant the water was actually colored, like juice or soda. So, he walked over to the white-only fountain to take a sip. But before he could drink, 20 black cast members stopped him. They had to explain to him how things worked in the South. That was the first time he really understood how unfair the world could be. It was a lesson he never forgot. As a teenager, Gregory and his brother Maurice became famous. Their father, who had never played an instrument before, decided to teach himself the drums so he could join them. By 1963, their father became part of their act, and they changed their name to Hines, Hines, and Dad. They traveled all over the world, performing on big stages. They even opened shows for huge stars like Lionel Hampton and Gypsy Rose Lee. They were so good that other performers didn't want to go on stage after them. The great Ella Fitzgerald even asked them to open for her because they were such a big hit. Even though Gregory was successful, his heart was not really in it. He was still a young man who wanted to spend time with his friends, play football, and be with his girlfriend. He even dreamed of becoming a football player one day. But he stayed in show business because he needed to support his family. His family came first, so he kept dancing even when he didn't feel like it. In 1968, Gregory got married to a dance therapist named Patricia Pinella. They had a daughter named Daria. Around the same time, Gregory and Maurice became so famous that they were about to get their own TV show. This was before The Jeffersons, and it would have been the first show with a black family as the main stars. After performing together for 10 years, Gregory and Maurice started having problems. They argued all the time. Gregory was tired of the long hours, traveling all the time, and struggling with money. He also had a drug problem. He was using cocaine, and it was making his life harder. Maurice wanted to focus more on acting in theater, so they decided to go their separate ways.
Because all my scenes were basically with Gregory, and because we knew how to work together. See, in the movie, all our scenes were never scripted.
At the same time, Gregory's marriage was falling apart. He and his wife were not happy together anymore. One day he heard the song Neither One of Us by Gladys Knight and the Pips. The words hit him hard.
To be the first to say goodbye.
He broke down in tears. He knew his marriage was over. It was time to leave. In 1973, he and his wife got divorced. After that, he packed his bags and moved to Venice, California, to start a new life. California changed him. He grew his hair long, started smoking pot, and drank a lot. He lived like a hippie, free but struggling. He still loved music, so he started a jazz rock band called Severance. He wrote songs, sang, and played the guitar. But making money wasn't easy. He had to do small jobs to survive. He worked in restaurants, did odd jobs, and even taught karate to earn some cash. It was not the life he had dreamed of, but he kept going. One person who helped him was Bill Cosby. Bill saw that Gregory was struggling and gave him $5,000 to help him get back on his feet. That was a big help. Gregory later got married again to a woman named Pamela Costello. But even with her support, his music career was not going well. He wrote songs, but no one wanted them. He even tried to work with Warner Brothers, but they turned him down. He felt stuck. He had no money, and his wife had to take care of him. Gregory decided to move back to New York. He wanted to find a better job and be closer to his daughter from his first marriage. When he got back, he and Maurice made peace. After so many years, they finally forgave each other. Maurice helped Gregory get a role in a play called The Last Minstrel Show. Gregory had not tap danced in 8 years, but he got back into it. Things started looking up. In 1979, he got a role in the Broadway play Eubie. This was a big break for him. He did so well that he was even nominated for a Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a Musical. That same year, he and Maurice appeared on Sesame Street to teach kids about near and far. After all the struggles, Gregory was finally back where he belonged, performing, dancing, and entertaining people again. When it comes to his sexual orientation, things get a little murky. Most sources point to him being straight. He was married twice and had relationships with women. But as with many stars, speculation always follows. Some whispers and unverified rumors suggested otherwise, though no concrete evidence ever surfaced to confirm or deny any alternative narratives. Hines himself never publicly addressed these rumors, choosing instead to focus on his artistry. And let's be real, his talent was the real headline. Whether on Broadway, in Hollywood, or in a jazz club, Gregory Hines was all about the rhythm, the craft, and the legacy he left behind.
Hurry. Oh, come on, let us keep the driver's licenses and the snapshots.
And our badges.
Things kept getting better. In 1980, Gregory got a role in the play Coming Uptown and another play called Ain't Misbehavin' with Nell Carter. Nell Carter was famous for the TV show Gimme a Break. In 1981, he was in another Broadway play called Sophisticated Ladies, which celebrated Duke Ellington's music. The play ran for almost 2 years, but then Gregory got fired. He told the director that the play was boring, and they let him go. But his castmates stood up for him. They protested, and in the end, the director was the one who got fired. After that, the play was changed to be more exciting, with a focus on the early days of the Duke Ellington Band. Gregory was getting more popular. People loved his tap dancing. Magazines and newspapers started writing about him, praising his talent. With all this attention, he started thinking about acting in Hollywood. It was actually actor Dustin Hoffman who encouraged him. Dustin saw Gregory perform one night and told him that he had real talent as an actor. Gregory never forgot that. It made him believe he could do more than just dance. And that's how his journey to Hollywood began. So he began reading scripts, just trying to see what was out there. One of the first movies he read for was a basketball film called The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh. Then he was set to be in another movie called House of God with actor Howard Rollins. Now you might remember Howard Rollins from the TV show In the Heat of the Night. But guess what? That movie never got released. Still, Gregory didn't give up. He kept pushing, and finally, he got his first real role. It was in a horror movie called Wolfen, and he played a medical examiner. You know why he got that role? Because he was good friends with the director. That helped a lot. After getting that part, Gregory decided acting was for him. Plus, unlike dancing, he didn't have to move around so much, and he really liked that.
Born to do it.
Gregory Hines got a big chance in 1981 when he joined the movie History of the World, Part 1, a comedy made by Mel Brooks. But here's the crazy thing. He wasn't even the first choice for the role. That part was supposed to go to Richard Pryor. Richard was all set to do the movie, but something terrible happened. Just a few days before filming, he had a serious accident. That's when Gregory Hines got the call. He stepped in and took the role, and that changed everything for him.
And that's the Ethiopian Shim Sham.
After that movie, Gregory's acting career really started to grow. In 1983, he acted in Deal of the Century with Chevy Chase and Sigourney Weaver. That same year, something even bigger happened in his personal life. He became a father. He and his wife had a baby boy named Zachary. Then, in 1984, Gregory got another big role in The Cotton Club, a movie about music and dancing in the Harlem Renaissance. He played a character named Sandman Williams, and the best part? He got to act alongside his real-life brother, Maurice Hines. But once again, he wasn't the first choice. The studio originally wanted Cab Calloway and Richard Pryor for the movie, but Richard Pryor was busy working on Superman 3 and The Toy, so Gregory and his brother got the role instead. Even though The Cotton Club was supposed to be a movie about jazz and dance, the director decided to focus more on white gangsters. This upset a lot of people because many scenes with black actors were cut. That included some of Gregory and Maurice's best moments. They had incredible dance performances, but sadly, a lot of them never made it to the final movie. In 1986, Gregory starred in Running Scared, a cop movie with Billy Crystal. The movie was a huge hit, and it was a big moment for both actors because it was the first time they were the lead stars in a major film. Gregory's performance was so good that he won a NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Lead Actor. He later said in an interview that he liked playing roles originally written for white actors because they had more depth and gave him more chances to show his talent. That was the kind of actor he was, always taking every opportunity and making it his own.
Now, the tap dancers think of this as like the Renaissance period. It's happening. It's still a real struggle for tap dancers to make a living tap dancing, but it is happening now.
Gregory also loved music. He wanted to be a singer, and during his hippie days, he was part of a band. He wrote songs and tried to make it in the music world, but nobody gave him a real chance. It was frustrating, but Gregory didn't give up. He kept going, hoping that one day someone would notice his talent. Then, in 1985, something amazing happened. Luther Vandross, the legendary R&B singer, saw Gregory performing on a rerun of Saturday Night Live. Gregory wasn't even thinking about getting discovered that night. He was just doing what he loved. But Luther saw something special in him. He reached out to Gregory and said he wanted to produce a song for him. This meeting changed everything for Gregory. He and Luther worked together and recorded a song called "There's Nothing Better Than Love."
There's nothing better than love.
When the song was released, it became a big hit. People loved it. It even reached #1 on the Billboard R&B charts, which was a huge deal. The song was on Luther Vandross's album, Give Me the Reason, which also had other hit songs like Stop to Love and So Amazing. Gregory's voice added something special to the album, and his name became more known in the music world. Luther didn't just stop at one song. He also helped Gregory get a record deal with Epic Records. This was another big moment for Gregory. In 1986, he released his first and only album, which was self-titled. If you've never listened to it, you should check it out. In 1988, he got a big movie role. He starred in Off Limits, a film where he played a military detective in Saigon, Vietnam. The director wasn't sure if Gregory could handle such a serious and action-packed role because most people knew him as a dancer. But Gregory proved them wrong. He was so good that he even beat out actor Carl Weathers for the role. That movie showed Hollywood that Gregory could do more than just sing and dance. He could act too. The next year, in 1989, Gregory took on a role that fit him perfectly. He starred in the movie Tap, a film about tap dancing.
The movie Tap brought many of the true artists together. Sandman Sims and Bunny Briggs and Harold Nicholas was in it. And it was Sammy Davis's last picture, wasn't it?
Right.
This was special because Gregory was a tap dancer at heart. In the movie, he played a mentor to a young dancer, played by Savion Glover. Savion was only 14 years old at the time, but Gregory already saw his talent. Gregory even said that Savion was one of the best tap dancers ever, better than he was himself. The movie also featured some of the greatest tap dancers of all time, like Bunny Briggs, Sandman Sims, and the Nicholas brothers. Even though they were older, they could still dance like nobody else. Tap was a tribute to the art of tap dancing, and Gregory was proud to be a part of it.
Right. Well, that film, for me, that was a real dream come true for me because I had idolized Sammy Davis from the moment I saw him. I think I was about 9 years old when I saw him.
Gregory loved tap dancing so much that he wanted to make sure it was never forgotten. In 1989, he created and hosted Gregory Hines' Tap Dance in America, a PBS special that celebrated tap dance. He brought together both old and new dancers to show the world how amazing tap dancing was. He didn't stop there. He also helped create National Tap Dance Day, which is celebrated every year on May 25th. That day was chosen because it was the birthday of the famous tap dancer, Bill Bojangles Robinson. Gregory's career kept going strong. In 1992, Gregory achieved something incredible. He won a Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical for playing Jelly Roll Morton. He also won a Drama Desk Award for Outstanding Actor in a Musical. These awards proved that Gregory was one of the best performers in the world. But by 1994, Gregory wanted to try something new. He decided to work behind the scenes as a director. His first movie as a director was White Man's Burden. a film about an interracial relationship.
That's what this is about. You can straighten this whole thing out. Now you want to help me?
That same year, he acted in Renaissance Man, playing Sergeant First Class Cass. Then, in 1995, Gregory starred in Waiting to Exhale as Marvin King. In the movie, he played the neighbor of Loretta Devine's character, Gloria. Loretta later shared a sweet story about Gregory. She said he gave her roses on her first day of shooting, which made her feel special. But Gregory also had a playful side. He jokingly told Loretta to lose weight after the movie, and they laughed about it. Sadly, Gregory's good friend, Whitney Houston, passed away, and actress Angela Bassett later said that they couldn't do a Waiting to Exhale sequel because of that loss. Gregory's own passing also added to the sadness. In 1996, Gregory starred in a movie called The Cherokee Kid, alongside comedian Sinbad. The movie was a fun adventure, and Gregory's performance caught the attention of many. Just a year later, he got his own television show called The Gregory Hines Show. He played the role of a single father named Ben Stevenson, who was trying to raise his 12-year-old son. The show was loved by many, but sadly, it didn't last. After just one season, the show was canceled, and only 16 episodes were aired. However, if you want to watch the show, you can still find the episodes online, on YouTube. Even though the show didn't last long, it showed Gregory's acting skills and gave people a chance to see his talent in a new way. Many people don't know that Gregory also worked on a children's show called Little Bill, created by Bill Cosby. On the show, he voiced a character named Big Bill. This was a big achievement for Gregory, and he won a Daytime Emmy Award for his work on the show. It was an important recognition of his ability to entertain people of all ages, not just adults. Gregory had a special way of connecting with people, no matter their age, and that was one of the things that made him such a beloved figure. In 2002, Gregory had the opportunity to play one of his childhood heroes, the famous tap dancer Bill Bojangles Robinson, in a TV movie called Bojangles. This role meant a lot to Gregory, and he did an amazing job portraying the legendary dancer. For his performance, Gregory won the NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Actor in a television movie. He also co-hosted the Tony Awards with Bernadette Peters that year, which was another highlight of his career. Sadly, Gregory passed away in 2003 from liver cancer at the age of 57. He fought the illness for over a year after doctors told him he had only a couple of months to live. Gregory's family and close friends kept his illness private, and only a few people knew how sick he was. During this time, Gregory continued to teach tap dancing classes, sharing his love for dance with the next generation. He was engaged to a woman named Negrita Jade, and he worked hard to keep living life as fully as possible. His death was a great loss to the world, but his legacy continues to inspire people today. In 2019, Gregory was honored by the United States Postal Service with a stamp in their Black Heritage series. This was a huge achievement and showed just how important Gregory was to the world. His brother Maurice, who is also in the entertainment business, released a documentary about their lives and careers, showing how much they both contributed to the world of entertainment. Gregory's children also followed in his footsteps and work in the entertainment industry, making him proud. One of his protégés, Savion Glover, has become one of the biggest tap dancers in the world. Gregory would be proud of Savion for keeping the art of tap dancing alive and strong. Even though Gregory is no longer with us, his impact on the world of dance and entertainment will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Gregory Hines. You will always be remembered and loved.